Now Zach, if the waters below the firmament were not waters of the sea, explain to us what God did on the third day of creation?
According to Genesis 1 from verse 9 to 13 we read as follows. God said, "Let the waters which are under the sky be gathered together in one place, and let the dry land appear." And so it was. God called the dry land earth, and he called the mass of waters seas. God saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let the earth bring forth greenery, grass bearing seed, fruit trees bearing fruit after their kind, and having their seed in them on the earth." And so it was. The earth brought forth greenery, grass bearing seed after its kind, and trees yielding fruit and having seed in them after their kind. God saw that it was good. So there was evening, and there was morning, it was the third day. Here is the explanation of this content. As I have already explained to you that the waters which are in the deep represent spirits, when God created the firmament, it was a separation between the waters which are the spirits. The spirits that are above the firmament are spirits that serve God. They are the entities of the second and third heaven, because no spirit can approach the first heaven, where the throne of God is, even if God fills all the heavens. Now for the waters which are below the firmament, these spirits constitute the entities which are at the service of man, because God has placed man as head of all these spirits. They divided themselves into entities of the fourth heaven, fifth heaven, seventh heaven, and the sixth heaven, which is the lowest level of the heavens. Man as a created entity is both in the fifth heaven, which is the surface of the earth, the manifested world, and his consciousness can rise from the fifth to the seventh when he is in union with God, and up to the third heaven when he attains perfection. When man is in union with God, all the angels of God honor man as they honor God, who is the Father of spirits. This is why no man has the right to worship any entity, because it is an action that is dishonoring the Creator. God alone is worthy of worship, as Jesus confirmed it in Luke 4 verse 8. Jesus answered him, "It is written, you shall worship the Lord your God and serve him only." It is likely that you do not understand now these explanations on the dimensions of heavens that God created. I have another study especially on the number of heavens that God created. In this study, the details are more explicit, you will understand them better.
To conclude your question, what did God create on the third day? God created the earth, the clouds which allow the waters of the sea to be manifested, after which the vegetations, but the vegetation were not yet manifested in our visible world. Why the vegetations that we see in the third day were not manifested in the palpable world?
We see that God created the earth, the sea, and the vegetation. At that time the waters of the sea were manifested in the visible world because of the clouds, because it is when God fixed the clouds above in the firmament, and that the sources of the abyss gushed out with force, according to Proverbs 8 verse 28. But the vegetation and the aquatic animals do not manifest yet, because the living beings are influenced by the stars of the sky. What living being manifests without its star in the heavens? This is why you will see that in Genesis 2 from verse 5 to 6 there is a period when the rain was not yet falling, and the vegetation was not yet manifesting. Jane, please read for us Genesis 2 verse 5 to 6.
Okay. Genesis 2 verse 5 to 6. When the Lord God made the earth and the heavens, no shrub of the field was yet on the ground, nor any herb of the field yet sprouted, for the Lord God had not caused rain on the earth, and there was no man to till ground. But a vapor rose from the earth and watered the whole surface of the ground.
Why were trees or vegetations not manifested in the visible world on the third day? The reason why the vegetations were not manifested in the visible world in the third day is because the sky symbolizes the spirit, or the male entity, and the earth and the sea symbolize the soul, or the female entity. The entities of heaven must manifest before the entities of earth and sea are manifested. And then the entity of time was not yet manifested, because time will exert its influence on all entities that manifest in the visible. It is after the fourth day, after the manifestation of the luminous stars, that the earth and the sea will be able to have living entities manifested, like plants, aquatic animals, and terrestrial animals.
The fourth day of the creation. Let's move on to the fourth day of the creation.
Sik explains to us what God was doing on the fourth day, and what are the entities that manifest in the tangible world.